Hello everyone and thank you for joining me. The fountain pen for today turned out to be an interesting one. Apparently this Pentel Tradio fountain pen has been on the market for quite a while, but I only found out about it recently by browsing around on Amazon, and it kind of piqued my curiosity when I saw the picture of it. As mentioned, I got the fountain pen from Amazon, specifically from Amazon Warehouse Deals. I was browsing for some computer parts, and as an oddity, this was somehow slided in there with all the graphic card support brackets that I was looking at. I haven't tried to use it as a support bracket, but who knows, maybe you can, right? But I think it's a little bit too long to fit under the video card. Anyway, the ploy definitely worked. They got me because, well, I got this, and I'm not really sorry for wasting my money on it. Speaking of money, I paid around 24 Canadian dollars with free shipping, which I don't think is a bad deal for this specific fountain pen. I have seen it on other places for around 60 to 80 Canadian dollars, which at that price I might find it a little bit maybe too expensive, but for $24, this seems to be a pretty good and decent deal. The thing that got me was pretty much this picture right here, the side profile of the fountain pen. I was really curious about those portholes that you have on the cap and the way the nib shows through it. That's what sold me on the pen. And I have to say, even in person, not just in the picture, this actually looks pretty good. I mean, the fountain pen mostly is built out of plastic, but it has a really nice weight to it. Odd thing is, first time when I got it in my hands, it felt maybe cheap and plasticky. But after spending a little bit more time with it and playing with it a little bit more, it actually feels good. I like the way this pen is built. Going quickly through it, I'm not sure what to call this shape. To me, it looks like a submarine / weird dolphin kind of a thing. I do like the way it is and the way it is designed. That clip, it is very interesting how it's built. It is made out of plastic, and I think is fairly usable, but because it's made out of plastic, you can easily shear it off from there. So I would definitely advise caution in there. Don't over extend it. And speaking of that, the clip slides in over this cloth very easily, but it doesn't really clip on it too well. I mean, pretty much falls off by itself. I don't have to do anything. Not a big deal for me, since I usually use clips mostly as roll stoppers. I don't really use clips as they intended to be. But if it's something that you care about, take that into consideration. However, I think it will work very nicely inside a pen case or something like that. I do like that clip. I like the way it is designed. Anyway, so we do have the two portholes on the both sides, and you can clearly see the nib. We do have the Pentel logo on the side, and it also says Japan. This is the first time I realized that this is a Japanese fountain pen. As mentioned, this seems to be on the market for a while. I only found out about it recently. On the other side, we have Tradio, Pentel. We do have a middle band ring that it's actually part of the barrel. The cap ends just before that middle piece. And then the barrel made out of plastic, which tapers slowly down all the way to a point and then tapers even more. And this is actually, for a reason, makes the pen pose very well. And at the bottom, we do have two air holes. So yeah, you'll most probably not be able to use this as a eyedropper. The cap is pull push. Works very beautifully and very satisfying click. I like that. And one thing that I really like again about this fountain pen, it has a pretty lengthy section, which I can get all my fingers on it. Very few fountain pens that can do this, and I really like this about the fountain pen. The section, it's almost like in two portions or sections. It does have a little bit of tapered down, just like you have on the barrel, which kind of make it complement each other, I guess. I haven't tried this nib yet. Hopefully it will be a good nib or a great nib. I assume it's a number 5, and it has a very interesting fade on it. It's definitely unique and definitely makes it stand out for itself. The barrel twists to turn like pretty much most of the barrels. The only difference is that this one surprised me a little bit. I thought that the barrel is going to break from here, but actually that band is pretty much two bands, one on the section and one on the barrel. And once you remove it, we do have a tall support collar for the converter. The converter does not come included. This is something that I've added. And it's quite funny because of the section being so long, obviously the converter goes in very deep. The pen did come with an international long cartridge. The problem with it, because, well, I bought it from Amazon Warehouse Deals, most probably was used, and whoever used it, they used the ink inside basically that cartridge, and instead probably of leaving it inside the fountain pen, they removed it, they put it in the box, and the ink just spilled everywhere inside the box. Not a big deal, I didn't care about the box, it went up in the trash, recycling. But yeah, you can definitely use a converter with this fountain pen. It is an international converter and fits in there pretty nice and tight. The only downside, I guess, is that you cannot see the ink levels in this converter. And the barrel, pretty simple and straightforward. Injection molding plastic with the two holes at the end, but everything else seems to be pretty darn good. The fountain pen in hand feels actually very nice, has a really good length on it, perfect fit for my hand, and as I mentioned, I really do love that section. It's definitely a fountain pen that I like. And balance-wise, the fountain pen is towards nib heavy. And again, that makes it on my favorite side as well. And if by any chance this fountain pen is not long enough, it does post, and it actually posts beautifully and deep. I would say definitely more than half in. And the shape end of the pen definitely helps with posting the pen. Something that they took in consideration and helps with posting. And once posted, pen is definitely longer, maybe a little bit towards top heavy, but not that much. I actually don't find the pen that top heavy because the cap is fairly light and mostly made out of plastic. Balance wise, when posted, it shifts towards the middle of the pen. Again, not bad. I like it. So overall, a very interesting fountain pen. I'm gonna go and ink it up, and then I'm gonna come back with a writing sample, and hopefully we'll have some nice drawing with it today. Now I am back. For you, no time has passed, but for me, I spent already half an hour on this fountain pen trying to get it work. I had some issues with the nib and the ink flow, and I didn't like it how it was working. And when I started writing with it, I didn't like how the nib was behaving, and just to give it a little bit of a chance, what I end up, I started working on the nib, flossing it, cleaning it again, and it was still misbehaving. I switched the ink. I started with Hiroshizuku Takesumi. That didn't work out very well, at least because of the nib. Then I went to a Parker ink just to eliminate any issues between the feed and the ink that I'm using, and it was still having an issue. And then when I look at the nib a little bit closer with the loop, I noticed that the nib was a little bit of odd shape. I'm exaggerating just to give you the idea of how the nib was looking like. So a little bit slanted, like an italic nib, and a little bit of a baby's bottom in there. And yeah, the ink wasn't flowing properly. So I spent about half an hour on it, working my way through 4,000 grit and up to 8,000 grit. And I got it working, and hopefully we'll get a drawing with it. And yeah, I stopped at 4,000 because I usually, if I worked on my nibs, I like them a little bit more grabby. So if I work on it, I might as well make it how I like it. Now I understand why the user previous... I can't talk and write at the same time. Why the previous user returned it. Now I don't know if because it came like that or it was dropped. The bottom line is, unfortunately, the nib was a little bit of a letdown. Now the nib definitely works nicely. It's how I like it because, well, I worked on it. And the reverse wasn't working before, but now works as well. And you get a really nice thin line out of it. But again, it was worked on it. It wasn't like that. Okay, so the nib works now. No issues. Definitely a better flow on it. Hopefully we'll work on the paper that I'm using for drawing as well. Anyway, I lost a lot of time, so I'll try and get into the sketching as soon as possible. Probably I won't spend as much time on the drawing today, but I'll try and get something interesting with it, and I'll let you know my final conclusions on this fountain pen. For the drawing today, I try something a little bit different than what I usually do, and it sort of turned out okay-ish. Definitely not my type of drawing, but I was curious to see how bad I can go with it. I might try more in the future, so you might see me practice from time to time on this subject. Apologize for the bad drawings. Now, to sort of answer one of the comments I had on my last video, in case you haven't noticed, I don't really have a technique to say. Usually I just move the pen on the page trying to get something out of the lines that are being put on the page, and then just slowly build up the values. I just move my hand until I get something. That is my technique, to be honest. Not sure if it means anything or helps you with anything, but I don't really think much about what type of cross-hatching I should do in what area. And I don't really have a concrete plan end to end. I might just have an idea that I start with, and then I kind of build on it, and I just do as I feel and like in the moment, to be honest. Probably I could use some more structure in my drawings and planning ahead. Maybe this way they will look better, but at the same time I just do this to enjoy myself. Never really plan to do anything with these drawings that I do other than pure personal enjoyment. Anyway, going back to the fountain pen, once I fixed the issue with the nib, I actually enjoy the fountain pen quite a bit. It's perfectly balanced for my hand, and I really do not have any major complaints. Well, after fixing the nib. I like its overall look. Like I mentioned, to my eyes, this looks like a weird dolphin submarine ship design, and especially I love that long section. Perfect fit for me and my preferences. One of the reasons why I try to make my sections on the fountain pens that I make as long as possible. Love that port-like view on the cab where you can peek through and check out the nib. And lastly, a really nice feeling in hand with good balance and length, posted or unposted. As for the dislikes, first thing was the nib. Unfortunately, was the biggest letdown on this fountain pen. it built up pretty nicely up until the writing sample, and then it just pretty much plummeted on the ground. I managed to fix it, but if working on a pen is not your thing, that will render the pen useless to you. Perfectly understand now why the pen was probably returned and then sold on Amazon warehouse. Second, no converter included, even though it seems that there is one large cartridge included. I mean, maybe they had an issue finding a proper converter for this fountain pen, because as you've seen, the converter pretty much disappears inside the section. And lastly, the plastic clip could be a concern since it can really break, but not an issue for me, since for me it's more of a roll stopper than anything. But if you need one and you care for one, might be an issue, so I would recommend being careful with it. In the end, I am happy I have found this fountain pen, but based solely on the copy that I have, I can't really recommend it. The only thing I could recommend is to buy it from somewhere you can return it if you have any issues with it. I don't know if you can just swap the nib on it. I don't know if a regular number 5 nib would work on it. I haven't tried. If by any chance I get around and do that, I will update a comment on this video. Does any of you have experience with this fountain pen? Is this a normal thing with this model, or was I just unlucky and got a dud? And that's all for today. An interesting fountain pen that I'm happy to find it, but it's hard to recommend it. Enjoy the rest of the time lapse, and if you have any other questions, please leave a comment below and I will try and get to it as soon as I can. Thank you for joining me today. Hope I'll see you next time, and I wish you all the best and a wonderful day or night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.